My music is so simple, and
But see, it doesn't sound simple to me. It really doesn't. Because I like complexity. I don't necessarily enjoy, I enjoy pop music to a certain extent, but it doesn't captivate me. And your music does. Like, to me, simple is strumming 3 chords on a guitar acoustically and singing.
I'm kind of doing that, So it's like.
Are you?
Well,
okay.
so like,
Maybe
"Livin' Loose" on this album, right? Dong 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 dong. I don't know how to play piano. I can hear it, so I'll find.
See, that's fascinating to me.
Yeah.
I don't want to use the word stumble through something, but
That's exactly what I would say.
Okay, well, but through that.
That's why it takes so long. You say, how I was saying it takes so long to make music. I have to accidentally find those weird chords. It's difficult because I don't know how to. I never hear anything in my head and then put it down. It's like painting random shapes.
Yeah.
And then eventually you go, oh, this looks like a plane or a building or a flower. And then you kind of make it look more like a flower. But maybe you are painting with your mouth instead of your hand, and you can't do a very good job of it. So you end up with this abstract painting of a flower that you didn't know what you were doing at the beginning, and you don't have any hands and you're painting with your foot or your mouth or something. Let me encourage you to listen to it next time and try to just think about what's actually going on. It's 1 or 2 notes at a time, and so it's those 3 chords with that, and then I just copy. I'm not playing them. I get them out on the piano roll in the computer, and then I copy and paste them where they need to go, and then I go, and it's just 2, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay.
And I have to find those too. I go, oh, that's bad. I have to find it, and then I'll forget. Even though it's just 6 notes, I'll forget, and I'll have to do it, 10 times before I get it right. Because I have no idea what I'm doing. I only know it when I hear it, when it sounds. When I realized that I could play every Brian Jonestown Massacre song on guitar, I quit lessons, and I quit trying to get better at guitar, and I just started trying to get better at writing songs, because I realized, well, that's it. Like, you don't have to be a virtuoso to write music. Like, in fact, maybe it hurts, because the best music that I've ever heard is Brian Jonestown Massacre, and every song is 3 chords and a 5-note guitar solo. You don't need any more than that. And then a beautiful, a simple melody that you can feel the emotion.
Wow, that's cool that you can trace it back to that point.
It was like a being baptized into a new religion.
Let's just say you had all the time in the world. Do you think you would actually study music? Do you think it would help or hurt?
I'm just not a good study.
Let's just say you could plug into the Matrix, download it.
Yes. I hate to admit it, but I think that it would help. Now, what would my music be as enjoyable? I might like it more, and I might be able to do more things that I hear in my head, but I think that maybe that's kind of limitation between my mind and what I can actually do kind of makes my music more accessible, digestible, because this is just me. Like, I don't like complex music. Like, when people are just going all over the place.
Jazz.
Yeah, if I can't catch the hook, if I can't get it stuck in my head, then I go, what am I listening to? What's bringing me back to this? Now that's for music that I love.
Yeah.
Now I'll put on cocktail jazz to have dinner to. But my favorite songs, if you go through and you look at my favorite songs, they're pretty simple songs, and they're, it's quite a challenge to find something that isn't so played out, that's still simple. I think that was like what made that first Mac DeMarco album that shot him into fame. It's like, how did he write a classic rock album that hadn't already been done before?
Right.
And, I'm kind of trying to do that with, my version of synth pop, or, whatever it is that you want to call this, So my vaporwave tinged pop music.
There is something so interesting about your approach of, I wouldn't even call you an amateur, but just of almost not knowing what to do, and that limitation gives you creativity.
Yeah, that limitation is a huge, limitation is, I think that a lot of people have to work that way. Limit when you can do anything, then just say, well, let's go out into the woods in this cabin and, we'll take our amps and we'll make this. That's like that story, the same old story. It's been done over and over. Having a limitation sparks the creativity, because when you can do anything, that actually is a big problem in my life as well. Maybe why it takes so long is because I've got like hundreds of thousands of different sounds on my computer that I can manipulate. But like, where to begin?
Sometimes I'll be listening to music and I'll be like, damn, I wish that this was just like, I wish that this didn't sound so clear. I wish that this wasn't so bright. I wish that they would just take the highs and just cut, all of it. So I do that a lot with my music. I actually have to kind of force myself to bring it back in, because I think that in a way that I'm always like really careful to bring it back in after I typically compose with like it's sounding like shit, because it's something about the cloudiness of the sound helps me to hear things that aren't there yet. So I'll compose and all of my instruments will be really distorted and boomy. There'll be no high end and really sludgy, and I'll hear things that aren't there and I'll add them in. And then at the end, then I try to make it sound hi-fi from a shitty recording that I've done. So then I go back and I boost the highs or try to sweeten some things.